Shalom, shalom, everybody. This is the Prophets of Awakening. This is our August 21st, 2020, and this is our Sabbath class, Friday night Q&A. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a moment of silence, in regards to what the Lord of Hosts is doing when it's dealing with our deliverance. And then we're going to go into a prayer. Okay. Okay. Oh Lord, we come before thee this Sabbath day with great praise and honor. We thank thee for thy mercy and steadfastness. O Lord, we see and understand thy words concerning our great deliverance from our oppressors. O Lord, we still wait upon thee. O Lord, we will tarry and have patience because you have given us understanding and knowledge to consider. O Lord, David and all his house long ago understood this very fact. We, O Lord, was given unto you for an inheritance. Who can deliver us from your hands? Turn not thy face from us. Turn not thy knowledge from us, O Lord. Consider us, O Lord. Embrace us, for we respect and honor you with all our mind, body, and soul that you have given unto us. Peace be unto you. Okay, so what we're going to do is a little current events. Does anybody got any current events? Anything they want to bring up?
Shalom, shalom.
Okay.
They have a lot of companies as it relates to the virus wanting to come up with a vaccine. And so I watched a video today, and it was talking about how can they jump from the devastation of the virus. They don't have a cure, but then they want people to take a vaccine.
Okay.
And so what the video was shining a light on is that there is an RFID, a little small chip. It's so small that you can't see with the naked eye, and it's a part of the vaccine.
Okay.
And when what they're gonna do is they're gonna make little vials of the vaccine for people to take, and that little chip, the person on the video was saying that's that little chip that's in the vaccine is part of the New World Order and the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast being that they want to chip people. That's why they have advanced with the AI technology, robots, and all of that. And the pandemic was brought on the scene in order to have the masses of the people to take this vaccine. And nobody is even saying anything about how can we take a vaccine and we don't have a cure.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So anybody else have anything?
Yeah, there's nothing in the comments yet. I don't have anything.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, one of the things I was going to deal with was, like I said before, we can see they got an all out blitz on Kamala Harris. They're trying to the Republicans say they just trying to totally discredit her. Yeah, they come from all angles. They're throwing everything at the kitchen sink and everything. But I think that that should have been expected. and they keep on showing. I was looking this morning where they're trying to say the polls is tightening up as far as the voters. I think it's something like, as far as they saying is, I think 41 and 49 right now, writing up, which, like I said, it don't make no sense. It don't add up to me. Yep. So, with that being said, I was going to deal with a little question. One question that was kind of posed is pertaining to the transatlantic slave trade and the African Americans and the African American Association with the transatlantic slave trade. So the thing about that is, first of all, you have to understand that we, as Israelites, we in our culture and in the way that we follow our lineages is through the male. So we traced on the episode 8, part 1 and 2. We traced the fact that the Israelites fled in 143 BC and they went across to top of Africa and they stayed up there for a while, and then they came down, trickled down through the Sahara Desert and ended up on the west coast of Africa. And they also, you have to understand too, that they had been in previous captivity, and they had been ran out of the land of Israel on like maybe I'm thinking like at least 13, 14 times. And then they had trade routes all down through going into Africa. Solomon Mines was in Africa, so they had all these trade routes and pathways in and out of Israel going into Africa. So when every time they went into captivity, they would go down these trade routes, and then when everything was kosher, they come back. And some of them wouldn't come back. Some of them settled, along those trade routes. But when the abomination that make a desolate came about, they was ran out for good. They went down through those routes, in different parts of Africa, but they ended up on the west coast of Africa. The majority of them went up across the top because they was told by the prophets, by Moses, and by the Lord of hosts himself, they didn't want no more dealings with Egypt no more. So that was forbidden for them to go there. The people that went there, they came up missing. So they went across the top of Africa. It's a place up there called Asherah at the top of Africa. They was up there for a while, then they came down through to Sahara Desert and ended up on the west coast of Africa, down in ended up becoming those countries that we hear about, those civilizations like Mali, and Timbuktu, all of the area there, those different empires that was what they call those people, the Mandinkas, Yoruba, and all those different people. That was all Edomites. All Israelites that had fled from Antioch Epiphanes in 143 BC. They ended up on the west coast of Africa. And so, like I said, so when you trace that, they bought the prophecy from Deuteronomy 28 and 68 was they would be transported into another captivity, enslavement, but the last one it'll be by ships. And they ended up, the ships came. It's in around 1619 and brought them over here. And so when you understand how you trace the lineage, you trace the Israelite lineage through the males. And so, like the Most High says, it's all Israel ain't Israel. And the reason he's saying that is because you trace the Israelite by the male lineage. And like I said before, you can't look at the person and because they in America and they have colors. They have Negroid features that they are Israelites. And I'm gonna show you some examples of that in a minute, but you got to trace them by the Israelite heritage and the male, and so we know it was Israelite women that was raped in Africa, raped on the slave ships, and raped over here on the plantations, and they gave forth kids, but the father wasn't Israelite, because the male Israelite was under the curses. He said it tells you that he was gonna let me see if I can find that right quick. Deuteronomy 28 says Deuteronomy 28, I'm gonna start at verse 28. The Lord shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart, and thou shalt grope at noon as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Thou shalt betroth a wife, see that? And another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein, and thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. So these curses on them. So they ain't dealing with no they ain't got no position to be dealing with no woman. Especially outside of Israel, the women that came with them, and then they being subjugated all over the place. So, and then another thing you have to look at it, that is, if you go back to Egypt, when they was in Egypt, the male is the seed. So when you start dealing with these curses, that's who he's talking to. He's talking to the male seed. These curses is pertaining to the male seed. So he says, they houses. The female is in the house, but he dealing with the males, and so he says right here, the Lord shall smite thee. So keep in mind, thee. Who is thee? With madness and with blindness and astonishment of heart, and thou shalt grope at and thou, who is thou? And thou shalt grope at noonday as the blind grope in darkness, and thou shalt, who is thou? Shall not prosper in thy ways, and thou shalt be only oppressed, spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee. Then look at this, you're gonna see who it is. And thou shalt betroth a wife. So the Hebrew Israelite woman can't betroth a wife. It's the male. You see right here from the verbiage, he talking to the males. So he says, but thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her, and thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. Thou shalt plant vineyards, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Thine ox shall be slain before thine eyes. So the ox belongs to the man. It says, and thou shalt not eat thereof. Thine ass shall be violently taken from before thee in thy face, and thou shalt not be restored to thee, and thy sheep shall not thy sheep shall be given unto thy enemies, and thou shalt have none to rescue them. So we can look at that, because Lot got caught up in the war between those giants, and he was taken, and they stole all his possessions. So all the possessions were for Lot. They weren't for his wife. And then Abraham had to go rescue him and get all his possessions back. And then Abraham had flocks. The Bible said Abraham had flocks and herds, and Lot had flocks and herds, and they had grown so big they had to separate. So we see right here, he's talking to the male. And like I said, he's a seed. When they was in Egypt, the seed was he said he was throwing the males into the water. Seed, sons. He was throwing them into the water. So you say, well, what you talking about? So, like I said before, he said you're gonna have the Israelite man gonna have a wife, but another man gonna lie with her. So if another man lie with her, which we know they did, these Europeans, these Gentiles was raping them and doing everything else on the slave ship. Well, they concede. Well, that ain't no Israelite. But the mother has Israelite features. So the kid come out with those features. And so what being that Esau so slick, he because they have our features and looking like us, he gave them all to us. Group gave them all to us and say they are Israelites or they America, black Americans, but we ain't all. Everybody ain't. If it's a man other than an Israelite sleep with an Israelite woman, the child ain't Israelite, even though he may have some of his mother's features. He ain't no Israelite. And like I said, that's a major problem, and that's what's going on right now today when we waking up. He promised us that he's gonna pour his spirit out on us in the last on thy seed. So when you understand how you get a seed, so that's where a lot of the drama coming in at. That's where a lot of these whacked out conversations coming from these camps, because they ain't Israelites. And so with that being said, I was saying, it's been said that a lot of people go to Second Ezra. I'm gonna read it right quick. We're gonna go all the way in. A lot of people go to Second Ezra, chapter 13, and they read what's they telling us in what happened to the 10 tribes. And so, like I said, and that have to be rightly divided. It says, Second Ezra, chapter 13, verse 39. And as for your, I'm starting at 39, but it's the verses that's relating to it is 40 through 47, but I'm just reading the verse up. It says, and as for your seeing him, gathered him to himself another multitude that was peaceable. These are the 9 tribes that were taken away from their own land in exile in the days of King Hosea, whom Shalmaster, king of Assyria, made captive. He took them across the river, and they were taken into the another land. But they formed this plan for themselves that they would lead the multitude of the nations and go to a more distant region where no human being had ever lived, so that there at least they might keep their statutes that they might not keep that they had not kept in their own land. And they went in by the narrow passage of the Euphrates River, for at that time the Most High performed signs for them and stopped the channels of the river until they had crossed over. Through that region there was a long way to go, and the journey of there was a long way to go, a journey of a year and a half. In that country is called Asher. They lived there until the last times, and now, and when they are about to come again, the Most High will stop the channels of the river again, so they may be able to cross over. Therefore, you saw the multitude gather together in peace. So when you read that, like I was saying before, you got to go all the way in on that. And I said that, my thing is trying not to leave no stone unturned. So when you go back and you look, it's 2 Lamechs, right? It's 2 Enochs. It's 2 Methuselahs. So we know that Esau stole the land of Israel. So you got and they renamed, they stole the land of Israel by lot. So they start calling themselves by the same names of the 12 tribes. Dan, Zebulun, Judah, Benjamin, they did the same thing. That's when during the time from 143 BC to 70 AD, they was in the land as imposters, chameleons, posing as Israelites, using the same names and everything. Using our forefathers, using our culture and everything. Even built a temple. They picked the vision up and built a temple. So when they left, when they was driven out in 70 AD, like the Most High prophesied, you got these tribes on the move too. So you got to consider that. And then another thing that what you have to understand, I was showing you in the episode 8 how that Negro land, it ain't but one Negro land on the whole planet. and that's on the west coast of Africa. And so we know that those Israelites, those Israelites over there. So that the kingdom of which I'm gonna read in a minute. I don't know how many people know about Mansa Musa, but Mansa Musa was the guy that came out from out of Mali with all the gold. He's actually the one that brought all the attention from the Europeans and the Edomites that was in Spain, brought the attention to the west coast of Africa because of all the gold that he possessed. So I'm gonna read some things about him, and then I'm gonna show you how you gotta factor all this stuff into the equation. And so it says Musa. His name is Musa, right? His name Musa. Mansa is a title, just like Melchizedek is a title, or Sultan is a title. So the Mansa is a title, but his name is Musa. So it's Mansa Musa was the 10th Mansa, which translates to Sultan, conqueror, emperor of the Mali Empire on Islamic West Africa state. So that's in the same area of Negro land. He has been described as the wealthiest individual of the Middle Ages. At the time of Mansa Musa's ascension to the throne, Mali in large part consisted of a territorial former Ghana Empire. Let me see where I'm at. Ghana Empire, which Mali had conquered. The Mali Empire consisted of a land that is now part of Mauritania and the modern state of Mali. During his reign, Mansa held many titles. Check these titles out: Emir of Mali, Lord of the Mines of Watana. So, like I was telling you earlier, and you have to factor this in, Solomon had mines. Solomon mines. So you go this guy right here, Lord of the Mines, Conqueror. Then another name was Conqueror of Ghana, and then he had at least 12 other titles. Then Mansa Musa conquered 24 cities, each with surrounding districts containing villages and estates. During his reign, the reign of Mali may have been the largest. During this time, when he reigned Mali, it was the largest producer of gold in the world. So, like I say, what you have to do with that is we go back to Solomon's mine, go back to this Negro land, go back to the fact that this is Havilah with a gold. We say when he formed Adam in the region where Adam was at was gold, plenty of gold. All that's tied together. So here comes this guy right here out of nowhere, Lord of the mines, with gold all over the place. And like I say, we know now that slave ships, which identifies who they are, because slave ships showed up in West Africa, fulfilling Deuteronomy 28 and 68. And like I said before, they didn't go to Europe. So we tell you what Israelites is at. So anyway, so it says he was one of the richest people in the history, according to Time magazine. There's really no way to really accurately number his wealth. So I'm going somewhere with this. So how did he become the king? How did he become the Mansa? You know what happened? Mansa Musa became king because I butchered his name. It says Al-Bakar Akhi II, king before him, embarked on an expedition to explore the limits of the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean, right? Slave ships came and got us. Transatlantic slave trade. So he went to explore the limits of the Atlantic Ocean and never returned. But we're gonna look at the numbers, right? We're gonna look at the numbers of the people that went with him. He says Al-Bakar II did not believe that it was impossible to reach the extremities of the ocean and encircle the earth. They're talking about the Atlantic, and he wanted to reach the ends of the obstinately persisted in the design. So he equipped 200 boats full of men, as many others full of gold and water and visuals sufficient enough for several years. So he sent this big contingent of boats and gold and water and all that to go see if they can cross the Atlantic, to see what was really going on with the Atlantic. Was it laying on the other side of it? So he didn't go with that trip, but he sent one out. He sent like let me go back, 200 boats full of men and full of gold, water, and vegetables, and sufficient enough for several years. Their absence extended for over a long period of time, since then at last one boat returned. Okay, one boat returned. And the man and the people in that boat says a large river is within the Atlantic. It said it was a large river that was violently flowing within the Atlantic Ocean, and they came up into it, ran into it. All their boats ran into it, and it destroyed all the boats except his. He said this guy said the people that was with him and the boat he was in, they managed to bag out in time enough to not get sucked in by the river and the violent currents of the river. So they came back and they informed him what had happened. And so he says, let me get this. It says, large river within the Atlantic Ocean drowned all the boats but his. But the Sultan or the Mansa would not believe him. He ordered 2,000. Look at this. He ordered 2,000 boats to be equipped for him and for his men, and 1,000 more for water, victuals, and gold. So he got 1,000 boats full of gold alone and water and all this on it. And so he reported with this time he went with him. He departed with him. That's how Mansa Musa came to the throne, because this guy turned it over to him. He went with these 2,000 boats men to go see what was going on the other side of the Atlantic. So and water and victuals, he departed with his men on the ocean trip, never to return, nor to give signs of, and never gave a sign of life. So you got 200 and some boats of black folks left before that going in the Atlantic, right? These people, they expert boatmen. They way more. The Europeans, Columbus had to get some of them to help him cross the Atlantic. So you think that they didn't make it? If Columbus made it, he had to get them to show him how to do it. So you telling me 200 boats went and they ain't make it? Then after that, 2,000 boats went. So like I said, I'm just laying this out there. So they say never was heard of again. So like I was saying before, so when you go to Second Ezra and you look at Second Ezra, like I said before, you got how you answer that is you go and look at today. We looking out right now from one documentary after another one, and the evidence is overwhelming where the 10 tribes at. The Israelites, they in Africa. The prophecy of the people that was going to be scattered was Judah and Benjamin and Levi, because they was ahead. The southern kingdom was the one that was going to get scattered. The southern kingdom punishment was over here in America, but the 10 tribes punishment was from being rebellious was they went to the Syrian captivity. And then they came back from the Syrian captivity, and then they crossed over the Euphrates, and they didn't go there. They didn't go into back to the land of Israel. They passed it and went into Africa. And the evidence all over it. So anyway, like I said before, so it's another thing you have to understand too. And like I saw the Most High tells you, all Israel ain't Israel. You're looking at somebody because they dark skinned or whatever, they ain't no Israelite. We know that Moses. When Moses went to help Jethro's daughters, they said the Egyptian helped them. And the only reason they said the Egyptian helped them was because his skin color. But you're gonna find out he wasn't no Egyptian. And then Joseph and them, the 11 sons, when they went into Egypt to get grain, they couldn't even recognize their own brother. So anyway, So another thing to consider is, I don't know if anybody know about this, but they got people called the Folsom people. You can look that up if you want to. It's FOLSOM. They got it recorded. It was a group of Negroid people that was here in Americas 12,000 to 13,000 years ago. And guess where they was at? Up in the Rockies, Colorado Mountains, all over that whole region. Let me read you what it says. It says, the Fulton culture occupied all of Colorado between about 3,000 and 12,000 years ago, and they were not the first people in those areas, although they might have been the first in some newly unglacial portion of the high Rockies. Nevertheless, the Folsom people, read it, were widespread throughout Colorado and beyond, and in some areas they were apparently quite numerous. So, like I said before, we see that this guy that was king before, Mansa Musa, left on a voyage with 2,000 ships full of men, and then some 2,000 more ships full of victuals and provisions and gold, crossing the Atlantic long before the slave ships came. Then you had these Folsom people that had been here. And also the Asiatics had crossed over to the Bering Straits and came over here. And so, like I said before, those Asiatics they intermingle with the Folsom people. And so, like I said, all you have to do is, when you're trying to get to the bottom of the truth, is Jacob. We know Jacob was a man of color, and he had woolly hair, right? And so he went to his mama's brother house and got Rebecca and Leah. Got Rachel and Leah. They was women of color with woolly hair, and both of them had handmaidens. They had woolly hair. How in the hell you get somebody with long string hair? Something else had to be injected in there for them to be an Israelite. All the 12. He had 12 sons by these 4 Israelite women with dark skin with woolly hair. So you gotta factor that in. Not being abrupt or rude or whatever, but like I say, is you got to factor that in. It's 4 women of color with woolly hair, and they got a woolly haired dude that's their old man. How you gonna get somebody with long straight hair and red? So something else was interjected into the food chain. And so, like I said before, all you have to do is look at it. The Chinese came. Called the Bering Straits. And these people that had been there, he's telling you right here, they was there for 12,000, 13,000 years. And they came there and they ended up intermingling with these Asiatics that came through there. And like I said before, I'm just laying out some routes that you can go and check out. You do with it what you want. But like I said before, the Most High says he's precise about when he prophesied things and what he say, when he say, you can when you pray about it and you dealing with the right God, you're gonna take it right to the information. So, like I said before, you can't get. It's a problem if you gotta, you got these brown, dark skinned people, woolly hair, brown eyes. Then all of a sudden you start seeing all these other features that came in there. Something happened. Something was interjected into the equation. And the Creator and our forefathers keep telling us over and over again, don't you know what I'm saying? Don't let your sons marry their daughters, and don't let your daughters marry their sons. So, like I was saying before, you can check that out. You got the Folsom people, that's FOLSOM. Then you got all these people that left with Mansa Musa. And then Mansa Musa, one of his titles is Lord of the Mines, Lord of the Gold Mines. Come on. And then we know Solomon had mines, gold mines, where he got all his gold from. And it's tied to Havilah. So, any comments? Okay.
Shalom, shalom, Leonard.
Okay.
So what was your point in comparing Musa to Solomon?
Because you got to look at how what the Most High said in if we go back to Adam. Like I said before, one of the this is another thing that you have to factor. Gold ain't you ain't gold that we dealing with in America. It had to come from somewhere. It ain't no new gold.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same gold. It's just being melted down and shaped and doing different things. Like they finding gold in the Pharaoh tomb. You think they ain't melted some of that gold down and shaped it in the balls or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same gold. It ain't no different gold. So he tells us right here, in Genesis chapter. Let me get it. Genesis chapter 3 says, Genesis chapter 2, verse 8. The Lord God planted a garden eastward of Eden, and there he put the man whom he had formed. And out of the ground made the Lord God to grow every tree that is pleasant to sight, good for food, a tree of life also in the midst of the garden, and a tree of knowledge of good and evil. And a river went out from Eden to water the garden, and from thence it was parted, and it became into 4 heads. The name of the first is Pison, that is which compasses the whole land of Havilah, where there's gold.
Mm-hmm.
He tells you that for out the gate. This in Genesis chapter 2. And so who does gold for? For Adam.
Okay.
So like I said, you think we're not dealing with some of that gold now?
Mm-hmm.
It's just being melted down and refined. So we know Solomon had, or the Israelites, especially Solomon and all of them, had gold all over the place. The Israelites had all kinds of gold. Then when they left Egypt, they took a truckload of gold from the Egyptians. They spoiled the Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
And then when they got where they was going, they needed the gold because the Most High had them overlaying trees and overlaying all kind of stuff with gold.
Right. In the temple.
Right. So now you all of a sudden you got this guy over there in Mali. Mali is the same region where Negro land is, and one of his titles is Lord of the Gold Mines.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
And Musa is one of our ancestors?
Well, they was on the west coast of Africa after the time of the Israelites left and went fleeing from the Greece, from Antioch Epiphanes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and so like I said, it's not a coincidence that he one of his titles is Lord of the Gold. He got gold all over the place. You got to understand the curses ain't kicked in yet.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, it's parts of it, but them coming to the slave ships and them losing their identity and all that ain't happened yet, because we know that whole region over there right today they keeping a bunch of the Israelite culture customs right now.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now that we coming to the end, the prophecy coming to an end, and we waking up Judah, because he got to say the tits of Judah first. Judah and Benjamin and Levi was the head. So they said the whole head is sick. So he cast it. So he scattered the head. 10 tribes that already did their punishment in Assyria, and they came back from there, crossed past Israel and went into Africa.
Okay, then so you're saying that the only You're saying that the diaspora of America and the Caribbean and everywhere is just Judah?
Judah, Benjamin, Levi,
Okay.
the
Okay.
Haitians, the Levites, and so
Judah.
that's the reason they so disoriented because they priests.
Okay.
They the main one responsible for it. That's why they didn't went from being priests of the Most High, getting all these revelations, to they dealing with voodoo and dealing with
Okay.
witchcraft and all that because he didn't cast them off. But
So-
like I was saying before, you know, you have a lot of different peoples going to Second Ezra and assuming that the 10 tribes came over here. But like I say, all you have to do is look at it and see. I mean, you know, I keep saying over and over again, if you go to an Indian village, you know, it's in Indian women over there. Look how they look. They have
Right.
and everything. And then all of a sudden you start seeing 2-3 little nappy head babies. Well, it's a Negro,
Right.
in one of them tents. They ain't just pop up with no woolly hair.
Right.
So, like I
Right.
said, Jacob had 4 Israelite women with woolly hair.
Right.
So if you get somebody else with some long stringy hair or look any kind of other way, it's something happened.
Right. Right. Okay.
Simple as
Now,
that.
yeah. Leonard, you've told us about how clever Esau is.
Mhm.
What do you think? I mean, Esau uses people that look like us to mislead us or to misguide us.
Right.
Certainly, do you think that was his that was his intent when he
Yeah,
was
he
raping the
been doing
women?
that. He been doing that forever. Because the thing is what I was talking about in the last part 2 of the episode 8 is that when he looking down at us, he sees one man.
Mm-hmm.
We operate. We just like red blood cells or white blood cells in the body. They all working together.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just grab one red blood cell in the body and tell it to go do this. No, all of them got to help do it. So
Mhm.
that's how Israel is. They are a bunch of parts, but they one. So as soon as you bring up some person on the scene that look like them, they gonna rally to that person.
Right.
And Esau been using it against us for forever. But the Most High done told us, you know, all Israel ain't all Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I said, the African ain't none of no African ain't no Israelite. And
Right.
so when you say African American, you know, you ride with that term, but we all know the people that's awake that the people that came and got on the slave ships wasn't Africans.
Right.
They was Israelites. They got them out of Africa.
Mm-hmm.
They you know, and so another example of that is Jethro. Jethro and his daughters that Moses ended up marrying one of his daughters. Well, they call them Kenites. They call them Kenites. Why? That's Jethro originated from Abraham's second wife, Kukuk.
Mm-hmm.
But they in the land, in the region where the Kenites live at. That's why they call them Kenites.
But they were really
They Israelites. I mean,
Israelites.
they are Hebrews.
Mm-hmm.
Because Israelites came from Jacob, but they
Right.
Hebrew.
Right.
So that's how you got to look at this. The same way they saying African Americans, but you got to understand, you know, yeah, you're gonna use that term, but the people that came on those boats from the transatlantic slave trade was Israelites,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So to tie to just to put the dots together, well, you have to understand when this guy Mansa Musa came on the scene, he came on the world scene, giving away gold all over the place. People, and that's what brought attention to the world. So Esau got a whiff of that.
Mm-hmm.
So Spaniards. So it goes right to what I said. Herod's lineage was given safe passage to Spain. So when Mansa Musa came on the scene with all that gold, that's how Spain got involved in the situation. They trying to get over there now because he's so greedy to get that gold. That's what brought about the transatlantic slave trade.
Mm-hmm.
Mansa Musa brought attention to that area. Negro name. So like I say, what's the chance of him being Hebrew? He over there in Negro land. And
Right.
he he got all the gold, and David had gold, and Solomon had all the other ones had gold, and he goes somebody over there in Negro land where the Hebrews at. What you think he is?
Yeah, Hebrew.
Okay.
Well, I have two other questions, but I will yield to see if somebody else has, and then I'll come back.
Right. I was trying to get some comments. Okay. Hello? You're on mute.
I'm sorry, I didn't mute myself when I came online.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anybody else got any questions or comments?
Yeah, there's no comments in the chat. Can you elaborate a little bit more on? I know different people say stuff about like indigenous people
Right.
being here. Can you talk a little bit more to that point? Like they're
Yeah.
saying that people could be Israelites.
Right. Well, that's what I was saying about they saying indigenous, but like I said, we see in two different occasions, you got this guy Abakora, that was king of Mali Empire before Mansa Musa, and he left on a voyage with 2,000 ships, and then he, what I'm saying, with provisions and all that. And these are the same people that control the ocean. They knew how to navigate the ocean. And like I said, these are the same people. When you start talking about the Moors and all that, these are the people that the Europeans had to get to help them cross the Atlantic. So you saying that the Europeans crossed it and made it to the other side, but these people didn't. And so what they saying? What they saying indigenous at is that they came from the African continent. But they say they've been there so long. That's just like the Ethiopians today. They saying that the Ethiopian is part of the Jewry. Now, these Edomites over there, back in 2010, around there, 2009, they went and got 15,000, 20,000 of those Ethiopian Jews and brought them to Israel, saying that they Jews. They're not Jews. They're not Israelites. They're not Israelites. They was placed there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. It was placed there. So it's no different than what they saying than when you say indigenous. They've been there so long, they thinking that they indigenous. So let's look at it. And then, like I say, it's a known fact that those Folsom people, which was of African Negroid features, had been there. They know at least 3,000, 13,000 years over here on this continent. They definitely ain't no Israelites. So anyway, it says, I'm in 2 Kings. Yeah, but like I say, don't take my word for it. But 2 Kings says in 17. I'm in 2 Kings. It says, and they just alluded to this, and I just read in 2 Ezra, chapter 13. But it says, the king Shalmaneser came and took the 10 tribes, just like it was prophesied. They went and this their captivity right here. The southern kingdom went to Babylon. Okay, so it says 24. He came. It says, and the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon and from Cuthah and from Ava and from Hamath and from Seraphim and placed them in the cities of Samaria instead of the children of Israel, and they possessed Samaria and dwelt there in their cities. So they took the Israelites the 10 tribes out and took them to Assyria, brought other nations there and placed them in different cities. So one of these nations, he says, is Ava. When you go back and do your research, that's Ethiopia. But right now today, they saying they homeland is over in Samaria. They indigenous of Samaria when they ain't. They've been there so long, they say they indigenous. But we know they wasn't. We see right here from the scriptures that the king Shalmaneser brought them there. And they had been there so long, they started saying that was their land. So that's how, like I said before, and then we got all this history right here of these people. I mean, you got to think about that. 2,000 ships, and before that, 200 ships. And they got 2,000 ships full of men. And then 2,000 some more ships full of visuals and gold and all that. And then you got Europeans don't know nothing about selling the ocean, but these people been selling it. Even when you're dealing with corn, corn is from over here. Corn is from over here in the Americas, in the North and South America. So how it get into Africa? So they was going back and forth, getting the corn and bringing it over there. They start planting corn in Africa. Wasn't no such thing in Africa at first, in that region, corn. So let's tell you they was making trips back and forth over here. So, I mean, you have to consider all that information. And like he said, Moses was mistaken for Egyptian. But he wasn't no Egyptian. Just like these Ethiopians, Jews, they ain't no Israelites. They got churches and all that all over the place, dug all in the ground all over the place. You have to kill them if you tell them they ain't no Israelites. But when you look at the history, you can see there ain't no Israelite because you can see when they was brought there. And then, like I said before, all you have to do is look. There's difference in them. There's a difference in them and us. There's a difference in the Hamites than us. There's a difference in the people that's over here, the Native Americans or whoever they say they was that was here when we got here. They different than us. Right. So, I mean, like I said, you can do that research but like I said, Jacob had 4 African women with woolly hair. He had woolly hair. We discovered all that. So, like I said, if you get something else out of that, something happened. To all 12 boys, you can't get no Hawaiian, one tribe, and then another tribe is Colombian. It don't work. So it's the same thing I said with the Noah, Ham, and Shem, and Japheth. How the hell we looking right today at the chart they gave us in Genesis chapter 10, and we know Alexander the Great and Aristotle and all them, they was blonde hair with blue eyes. How does Noah's son? Ain't nothing Noah's son. Shem Noah's son. And then Ham ain't no Ham. He look different. He ain't none his son. They can't happen. That's like like the ugly duckling. When the eggs hatched, you found out he wasn't no duck. He's ugly. He was a goose. And then you have to look at the DNA. He couldn't have came from the ducks because he don't look like it. He don't eat no duck. He all throwed off. So the DNA speaking for itself. Yeah. Comments. What I'm saying when I say when I do a comparison contrast with Solomon, you have to go back and look at Solomon had gold mines. David had gold. Solomon had the reason what made Solomon so rich, when he had gold mines somewhere in Africa. it's tied to Ophir or whatever, but scriptures already tell you that it was gold, it was all kind of gold in this place called Havilah. Out the gate, he gave it to Adam. And so then you come on down to that's what Solomon had. Abraham. All of them had gold. So they was getting it from somewhere. And then we know that Solomon had Solomon mines. He had a huge intricate system of mines and caves and caverns that were full of gold. And he was getting it from. It tells you that he had ships, and he was sending those ships to go get the gold. So now all of a sudden, when they get kicked out of the land, here comes this guy out from the west coast of Africa, where the Israelites went to. He come out of nowhere with all the wealthiest man in the world, with gold all over the place. You know, and one of his titles is Lord of the Mines. So you gotta, you know what I'm saying? You gotta. I mean, I don't know about nobody else, but I'm going in and try to connect the dots. And like I said before, they wasn't the curses hadn't overtook them yet. The curses came and overtook them on the west coast of Africa when the slave ships came. Comment.
Shalom, shalom.
Okay.
I never heard the question, but is your point, I know you have several different points, but is one of the points that the indigenous people of America were blacks? Is that what you're saying?
Right. It's tied to second Ezra, chapter 13. Verses 40 through 47. It says that the 10 tribes, when they left Assyria, they came a year's journey and came to Ashtaroth, to a place called Ashtaroth. They say Ashtaroth is America.
Okay. And then
the 10 tribes is here. They was here when the slave ships came here. The 10 tribes is already here.
And you're saying that's not the case?
No, I'm saying look at the evidence. That's all I'm saying. Look at the evidence, because like I said, you can't when you go back to Japhet, Shem, and Ham. There ain't no way under the sun Japhet Noah's son, because we know the Greeks, the Macedonians. We know what they look like. They blonde head and blue eyed.
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're Noah's son. Ain't nothing Noah's son. And then we look at the Shem. I mean, we look at Jacob. You have to understand, Abraham and Isaac is not Israelite. The Israelites came from Jacob, the 12 tribes.
Uh-huh.
His father and grandfather ain't no Israelite.
Right. They're Hebrew.
So how did Jacob look? Jacob was dark skinned, woolly hair. He married 4 women and got 12 boys. They got dark skin with woolly hair. So if you got somebody else coming with some long hair, stringy hair, something else was injected in the equation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
So are you also saying that all of the tribes, all of the 12 tribes, should have woolly hair?
Right.
Okay.
And the Most High made a point of that. He said, "Don't marry nobody else." Why are you saying that? Because you're gonna get something else.
Uh-huh.
And so we done found out that the woolly hair is just like in the morning you cut your grass, and then you come out there in a couple of days, it's picking back up again, it's reaching up to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what's going on with our hair. Our hair is each one of those fibers is an antenna, and it's reaching up to the sun. It's like a solar energy. It's sucking, it's getting the energy from the sun to deal with our brain, to deal with our pineal gland.
Mm-hmm. And the
So
melanin.
it's alive. But they hair ain't doing that. They have dead.
Okay.
They got dead hair. So like I said, now all of a sudden you got people walking around with long string hair. Come on, man. Where they come from?
Mm-hmm.
It's just something been injected into the equation. That's like giants. Hell, how we get the giants? The angels came down.
Mm-hmm.
And they so now when we see them, we know some entity that came into and tipped into mankind's genome.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got the giants walking around the same with that. If Isaac was if Jacob is dark skinned with woolly hair and them 4 women dark skinned with woolly hair, that means that's all you're gonna get. You're gonna get all these different variations of how they look, but they all gonna have dark skin woolly hair.
Mm-hmm.
And pretty much be the same color, same complexion.
Right.
Right.
So now you do realize that what you are saying negates what a lot of other camps are saying, which they are claiming the Spanish and the
Oh yeah, I understand that.
okay.
I'm dealing with the. You gotta look at like I said, you gotta look at the facts.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Michael, you keep saying that he ain't the Lord of hosts, but look what he say. You keep on telling me. Jacob said it. Abraham, an angel came to Abraham. He came out there and bowed down to him and told him, call him Lord. Two of them went to Sodom, and the other angel stayed there, and he telling him, listen, man, I made the stars.
Right.
I made this, I made that. Well, come on, what else he got to tell you? You see it's an angel.
Yeah.
Come on. And that's like I said, that's where the problem coming in at. You got to look at it with what it's saying, point blank, and then look at like I said, how you operate the DNA. He made a certain man. He created a man and a woman, and then he formed a man. The man he formed, he different. So he said he separated him, put him in a garden. Why? He don't want nobody dealing with his DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Then he made a man specifically for him and brought the woman to him because he don't want nobody tampering with that DNA. Because he made him for a particular reason. He made him for to deal with him. So he said, don't bring nothing else in here and mix it with me, with you, and with what I've done.
Mm-hmm.
And even to the point where when they did do it, he brought the flood. Because it was only Noah and Shem left. They were trying to mix, they were trying to get with it, they were trying to contaminate them. So in order to keep you from contaminating them two, he had to bring the flood.
Mm-hmm.
And kill off the invasive species that were trying to do it. And he killed all of them. Right. So it's serious about the DNA thing is serious.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, now can I ask a question about something different?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So we know that Eve had you can help me if I'm saying this correctly or not. We can look at Eve as having 2 manner of people in her womb, right? Because she slept with the serpent.
Right.
And then she was with Adam, right?
Right.
How did Rebecca get 2 manner of people in her womb?
Same way. Like I said, that's what I'm saying about this situation. He said he letting you know Jacob don't look the same as Esau. Esau got red hair. He hairy and he got red hair. Ain't none of this like hairy red. It's point blank. You tell you something happened.
So what happened with Rebecca?
Down when she was with Amalek.
Oh.
And he told him Amalek is a red-headed giant.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay.
So like I say, I don't talk about those topics unless they come up. But come on, you don't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. That's just like you married and your partner, he Italian. You don't never figure. You can't never figure. You say, oh, my Italian friend ain't gonna talk to my wife. Well, hell, she come up pregnant, and then 9 months later, the baby come out looking Italian. Yeah, come on. You gotta deal with that. You can't sit around and say, oh, that's my son. No, it ain't none of your son.
Right.
That's your Italian friend's son.
Right.
Deal with that.
I totally
Same
forgot
with this
about,
right here.
yeah, I totally forgot about when Rebecca was you know, because the story of Abimelech does not let you know that someone slept with her.
Why? Well, it's a like I said, it's a carpet. Esau he got hold of our scriptures, and people
Mm-hmm.
thinking that he did a little bit here and did a little bit there. No, he tapped with the whole thing. Even to the point where we it's coming out now because the Most High raising men up, and because they're gonna need to know this stuff in order for us to lead. But Jesus Christ, start looking at the pictures of him. He got red hair. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Dog, we sitting there looking at it one way, but they didn't. All they did was took our story and put it Edomite twist on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? To say that we've been falling down and falling out over in the church house is a redhead dude.
Mm-hmm.
But we
Right.
so blind, we couldn't find them. That's what they had done. But we see now that's what it is. And then go back. Like I said, I give you movies to watch. Go watch Bram Stoker Dracula. They spent $90 million to make that movie. So look at it. Look where he is. He's a handsome dude with red hair, blue eyes and red hair. What he capable of doing? He turned to a wolf. He turned to this hairy beast that's hairy all over. He sleep with the girl, the redhead girl in the garden.
Mm-hmm.
He got piercing blue eyes. Then he can transform himself. Ain't number Satan. He get to the door. He a wolf. The wolf can't go under the door, so he turn into a fall. And then he go in the fall, go under the door, come back
under the door,
transform back into a man, and he's standing there, handsome, tall, white dude with red hair. Come on, man.
Right.
we fumbling with it. See what I'm saying? But it's right there in your face.
So what you saying about all that? You saying that Esau is deceptive, or
no? He didn't impose his culture on us, and using it as and got us thinking that all this stuff is came from God. It ain't come from God. He done flipped the script. It's like I said, you want to say that Noah was violated.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't what it's saying. It's saying Noah's nakedness is his wife. It's a woman there.
Right.
And so that's why they walking backwards. They walking backwards to cover up the woman that Japheth and raped.
Okay.
Right. And then Noah wakes up and Noah says, we're gonna go in on this. So Noah wake up and say, curse be Canaan. Why he saying curse be Canaan? It's a baby in the woman's womb. And he cursed the baby. Ain't no Canaan on the boat. Did Canaan get on the boat?
No.
So he said, curse be Canaan. So he cursing the baby in the womb. You say, well, why he doing that? Well, let's go back to Genesis. Genesis chapter 3. And I'm at verse 14. He dealing with the serpent. I'm gonna start at verse 13. Like I'm saying before, all this stuff go back to genome, DNA, and we know what DNA do. DNA can't do no more than what you let it do. So it says 13. The Lord God said unto the woman, "What is this that thou hast done?" They didn't do to do. That's what they done. So he says, "What is this that thou hast done?" And the woman said, "The serpent beguiled me." What did beguile me? To do. So you used to do get some popcorn, or what you used to do? So anyway, 14 says, the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, you know what he done. Thou art cursed above all cattle, above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shall thou go, thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. Now look what he say. Ain't no boys around, ain't no babies nowhere around. But look what he say. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. 2 keys. Where they at? Noah did the same thing. He said, curse be Canaan. What Canaan at? Canaan in his wife's womb. Now, turn the page. Chapter 4. And Adam knew his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, and Cain said, I have gotten a man from the Lord. And she again brought Abel. They go to 2 seeds. So he telling her over here, he already knows 2 seeds up in it. Telling over here in chapter 3, Verse 14 is two seeds in your belly. One of them yours is Adam, and the other one is yours and Cain. Yours and all the saints. And then she conceived and got two boys. It was all he already knew that note when he came. When he talking to her right there. And so you say, what are you talking about? Well, let's go to another situation. Genesis 18. I'm in Genesis 18, verse 9. And it says, it's Sarah. And they said unto him, where's Sarah, thy wife? Michael asked him, where's Sarah is? And he said, behold, she in the tent. And he said, I will certainly return unto thee according to the time of life. It's about another seed. It's all about seed. So he says, and lo, Sarah thy wife shall have a son. She ain't had a son yet. Sarah thy wife shall have a son. And Sarah heard it in the tent door and was behind her. And I watched it. So she ain't thinking, she ain't talking. She's thinking all this in her head about, what are you talking about? So he said, now Abraham and Sarah were old and well stricken in age, and it ceased to be with Sarah after the manner of a woman. Therefore Sarah laughed within herself. She didn't laugh out loud, laughed within herself, right? Saying, after I am waxed old, shall I have pleasure, my Lord being also so. And the Lord said unto Abraham, why she laughing? See that? How you know she laughed? You know what I'm saying? So it's a whole bunch of stuff going on that we ain't even perceiving because we ain't reading the scripture right. But she laughing, he knows she laughing, but he don't see her. And he asked Abraham, why she laughing? So then he told Eve, your two babies in your womb. One of them yours and Adam, and one of them yours and Cain. And then in the next page, the next chapter, she had two boys. Noah gets up and say, cursed be Canaan. Ain't no Canaan on the boat. Canaan is Canaan in the womb for what Japheth did to his wife. And he cursed him in the womb. These other boys was cursed in the womb. He ain't doing nothing no more than what the Lord owes to you. Okay? Comment. Well, fallen angels was when you understand what's going on. It was a man that was created and with a woman on the sixth day. That's mankind, and they had he created them on the sixth day. So one day with the Lord is 1,000 years. So 6 days passed, then he rested for a day. That's 2,000 years have passed. These people right here, they created, they multiplied. Well, these angels, the watchers, supposed to be watching them. That's a 6 day man. But the Lord of hosts is watching Adam's seed. So these angels are supposed to be watching mankind, which is Adam. And Michael himself is watching over Adam's seed. He formed them for himself with his hands. So he watching them, but these other angels are supposed to be watching. That's why they call watchers, watching mankind, 6 day man. But they crossed over and started intermingling with them and started, having affairs with them. And they started having giants. So they left their state where they're supposed to be at, dealing with them and instructing them and watching and guiding them to having relations with them. That's what a watcher is. '21 and 10, 14. 21 and 21. Yeah, yeah. They could take the, like I was saying, the man had a seed. It's just like when we had Hebrew women on the boat and they raped them. The kids that was born was from the lineage of the man that raped them. So it's the same thing. If the Hebrew man going to another woman outside his race, it's still a Hebrew Israelite. So, but it's a process. If you read, I'm reading from Deuteronomy 21, verse 10, 10 through 4. It says, uh, "Thou shalt not plow with an ox and 21, 22, 22, 10 says, when thou goest forth to war against thy enemies, and the Lord thy God hath delivered them into thy hands, thou hast taken them captive, and seest among the captives a beautiful woman, and hast a desire unto her, that thou wouldest have her for thy wife, then thou should bring." So, first of all, in order to get a woman to come your wife, you got to go into it. So, before he can do that, 12, then thou shalt bring her home to thine house. She shall shave her head. It's a process you got to go through. Shave her head, pour her up nails, and she shall put the raiment of her captivity from off of her, and she shall remain in thine house and bewail her father and her mother a full month. And after that, thou shalt go in unto her, like I said, in order to be a wife, you got to go into her. So go on unto her and be her husband, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou have not no delight in her, then thou shalt let her go whither she will, but thou shalt not sell her at all for money. Thou shalt not make her merchandise of her, because thou hast humbled her. So it's a process of doing that. Like I say, she ain't got no seed. She don't have no seed. So it's the Israelite. If it's an Israelite male, then you putting the Israelite seed in the woman. And like I said, you don't know what you're gonna get, because look how Absalom turned out. And look how Onan and and Onan, Judah, 3 sons from the Canaanite woman. They was wicked as hell. They was Israelites. Okay. Okay.
That's all the questions.
That's all of them.
Yeah.
Okay. In the chat, yeah. Yeah, I was gonna talk about that as far as the having dealing with politics on the Sabbath day. Politics, like I said, go back to Mordecai, and then go back to Joseph in Egypt. So I mean, it's politics in when you look at the Sabbath itself. You know, when you're dealing with the Israelite culture, that's political. So I mean, I'm lost on that one, because like I said, you got the high priest, you got the king, and all them. It's they keeping the Shabbat, honoring the Shabbat, but still it's things that they dealing with is political. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, look at Mordecai, look at Hezekiah. I mean, yeah, Hezekiah, and look at what went down with Zerubbabel. And Joseph in Egypt. And then if you if you pick a topic, it's topics in the Bible that's political. If you chose to deal with that on the Sabbath, come on. They don't. I mean, it's not. I'm not understanding that one. As far as it don't, as long as you keeping the Shabbat and you're not violating it. No more questions?
Shalom, shalom.
Okay.
Okay, so Leonard, do you feel that what happened with Vashti in Esther chapter 1 was the Lord of hosts setting things up to bring in Esther?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah, that's how he operate. And like I said, you got to get the full understanding of that. Is that a lot of people don't deal with that, don't read over. But Mordecai had a dream before all that happened. When the whole thing, the whole situation started out, Mordecai waking up from a vision he just had, and so that's it's tied to that.
Is that in the book of Mordecai?
That's in the book. That's in the Esther, in the Apocrypha.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
When he first started out, he having a dream, and he tell you the dream, and then at the end of the extensions of Esther, he tell you he come to it's troubled him. Dream troubled him, and he said he's going about his day with that dream on his mind. Then all the events that went down with Esther and Mordecai and Haman and all that, after it was over with, then it came to him what the dream was about, and he broke down all the elements that was in the dream.
okay.
Right. So
And
that's
okay.
yeah. So that's what that is. So she, Vasta, the king's first wife, all played a role in it.
Right. And so in the Vashti knew that she should not have disobeyed the king. So it's the hand of the Lord of hosts that would cause her to do that.
Right.
Okay.
And where she came from, her origin, she where she came from, evidently women had more rights, or they wasn't going for what Persia was doing. And like I said, you have to look at the Persian Empire. It's predicated off of Nebuchadnezzar Empire, and Nebuchadnezzar patterned his off of what he saw when the Most High came dealing with him.
Okay.
He got 7 chamberlains that he deal with, and Most High got 7 angels. So that's what Esther was saying. She said, I can't go in there. They in there talking, and then these 7 chamberlains, and I can't go in there. If I go in there, I'm gonna get killed.
Right.
So like I said, that's tying into what I was saying about being political. She said 30 days. They've been in there 30 days. How many Shabbats you get out of 30 days?
Get about 5 or 6.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Ain't no more questions?
No, that was it.
Okay. So I hope that was starting to get some more questions, more than usual. So I guess we're gonna pick this up in the morning at 9 o'clock. And I was gonna say Shabbat Shalom to everybody.
Hold on, there's one more.
You got another one?
Yeah,
Who is it?
it just popped up.
Okay. $58, $13. Let me get it. Isaiah 58, 13 and 14. (58:13) says, the observance of the Sabbath, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thine own words, then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord hath spoken it. So yeah, well, that's goes right with what I'm saying. He says that let me go right here to Isaiah 9:6. Isaiah 9:6 says, for unto us a child is born, unto us a son is given, the government is upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty King, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end, upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom, to order it and establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth, even and forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts. So if David on the Sabbath and he's dealing with something that's political, he's doing the will of the Most High. It's not something that he delighting in. So and then you say, well, what you talking about? David went into the Holy of Holies and he took the shewbread off of there. He took the shewbread off of there. Surely he supposed to came up dead. He took the shewbread and ate it. So this son right here that's given, everything he doing pertaining to Israel is pertaining to the light of the Lord. It's according to his will. So it's right in accordance with what 58 and 13, 14 saying. Now, if it's somebody else, like I said with Mordecai was dealing with and Joseph was dealing with the things that the prophecies and commandments and the affairs of the Most High. So he delighted in that, and we know that he delighted in it because he prospered. He prospered Mordecai, brought him up to second in command. He brought Joseph up to second in command. Yeah, so you can get somebody Israelite off the streets somewhere that, you know, according to what their role is. If he ain't doing and he trying to do something that ain't pertaining to the Most High, that's a different story. But in this son that's given with the tie to David, the covenant, he's doing the will of the Most High, and it's political because the whole government on his shoulders. Yeah.
That's the last one.
Okay. Yeah. So shalom. I'm gonna see everybody in the morning at 9 o'clock for the Sabbath class.